Hey guys, it's your boy Poohead, and this is part 2 of my Q&A vids. Thanks so much for sending in all these questions, and thanks also for being patient with me while I'm doing other stuff and not making info videos. Also, a few of you were interested in my fanfiction writing from the last Q&A answers, so I have put a link in the description below next to the Patreon page in case you want to read. The only fanfiction there is a comedy though, so don't expect it to be like a regular Dragon Ball Z kind of fanfiction. I'll probably try my hand at that later. Anyway, let's get started on these answers. I'm going to answer some Dragon Ball questions first, and then I will answer the questions pertaining to just me. But let's get into it. Okay. Alright, so, Lumbago44, I believe that's how you say his name, they made a question last time that I did not see, and so I have apologized already, but I'm going to get to it now. I know you typically... Okay, Lumbago44 says, I know you typically stay away from Super, but are there any redeeming qualities that stick out to you? Any characters, arcs, moments, etc.? Yes, there are. While I criticize Super fairly heavily, there are a few things that I do quite like. My favorite moment ever is in the anime when Goku goes Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. I remember that specifically. Okay, I'm not the kind of guy to really freak out. I'm usually very calm. But when I saw that, I remember typing and not being able to type correctly. Like I'm like a squealing girl. So I was like, holy shit. This is amazing. Like, I loved it. I do like seeing Future Trunks again, even if I don't necessarily like that the arc was kind of just a repeat. Something I don't like about Super is that they do repeats of the old arcs and repeats of the lessons, and but they're just worse versions. But I was glad to see Future Trunks again. And I love that they had him not only become Super Saiyan 2, but also he became a mastered Super Saiyan 2. That was really cool. A character I really like is Hit. Hit is my favorite Super character, and he's one of my favorite Dragon Ball characters. He's just super cool. I also like Toppo. Let's see. I think Beerus is pretty cool too. There were definitely more moments that I enjoyed. Some Universe Tournament arcs. I really liked the Universe 6 versus 7 arc. I think that the sagas that were made after the movies that came out were okay, but I kind of prefer I definitely prefer the movie versions of them. I think every movie version is better than in the Super anime or manga. So if anyone ever asks me, like, should I watch Dragon Ball Super? I'm like, watch the first 2 movies and then start on episode 44 if you really have to watch Super. But yeah, that is the answer to that one. Okay, now. Okay, I'm going to scoot up a little bit to get closer. Okay, let's see. Might be a bit late. Okay, Mr. GB asks, might be a bit late, but would you consider Dragon Ball, Z, GT, and Super sci-fi, or at least DB and DBZ? Dragon Ball Z is certainly sci-fi. Dragon Ball is more fantasy. GT and Super, yeah, I would say are science fiction as well. I mean, I think there's science fiction and fantasy in all of it, but I think that Z is definitely a more sci-fi version. Okay, Lucas Sanchez 3734. In your opinion, which is the better fusion, Gogeta or Vegito? Gogeta. I like Vegito. I like them both, but I somewhat prefer Gogeta. Unless you mean which is more powerful. Now, if you mean which is more powerful, it depends. Gogeta in the Super movie is the strongest, but I do believe that the Potara earrings are better at granting power than the fusion dance. So I think if there was a Vegito in that arc, he would have been stronger than Gogeta. But since Vegito was back with Boo, and Gogeta was in Super with Broly, Gogeta's stronger. Okay. 9ZXN asks, "Hi, you can just call me 9Z." Oh, okay, cool. So 9Z asks, "You might know me from Twitter. I commented occasionally under the alias Kanako Ketsukane. Yeah, I recognize you. So you can also call me that. But if not, that's fine. I don't really want to do too much fluff, so I'll stop with the introduction here. I have a few questions. If it's limited to one, just answer the one you like the most. No, it's not. I can answer a few. 1. What is your opinion on Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue? I'm a big fan of Super Saiyan God and the design philosophy behind it, but I'd like to know your thoughts on the God forms. 2. What is your favorite form, non-canon or canon? And what is your favorite technique, non-canon or canon as well? 3. Do you like... I shouldn't rate them all, right? Well, I guess I will. 3. Do you dislike Dragon Ball Super? If you do/don't, why? I think I did just answer that specifically, but I'll probably just give a smaller one. 4. Opinion on Beast Gohan in the Dragon Ball Super superhero movie. Thanks for reading, and extra thanks if your second Q&A part includes this. I like listening to your videos, and I'm a big fan of your style. Oh, I appreciate that a lot. And I do recognize you from Twitter. Thank you so much. Let's see. For your first question, which is what is my opinion on Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue, I think the concept is okay. I think that... I'll say this much. If I was the writer for Super, I would not have recommended it, but I do think that the Super Saiyan God is a cool-looking form, and Super Saiyan Blue, I quite enjoy that form. I think I enjoy Super Saiyan Blue more, even though my favorite color is red, but I just like that Super Saiyan Blue is like just regular Super Saiyan, but blue, obviously. But I think from the art style that we get, it's very cool. I do think that... I think that... I said this in the last video, but I think that Super Saiyan God should have been called Saiyan God. And I think Super Saiyan Blue should have been called Super Saiyan God. That would have made it much better, in my opinion. But I do quite enjoy... Super Saiyan Blue, and I think Super Saiyan God is neat. Let's see. What is your favorite form, non-canon or canon? And what is your favorite technique, non-canon or canon as well? My favorite form. So favorite transformation, I would believe. My favorite form, probably regular Super Saiyan is my favorite form, or Super Saiyan 2, depending on which character is using it. I think for Goku, Super Saiyan 1 is my favorite, unmastered Super Saiyan. I think for Future Trunks, Super Saiyan is my favorite form. Vegeta, probably... Well, honestly, he looks the same between 1 and 2, pretty much. I guess I'll go with regular Super Saiyan, like for the first time it's used, and in the Trunks arc, particularly in the Trunks saga. I think with that fiery aura, it just looks the coolest. Although I will say I do quite enjoy Beast form. And what is my favorite technique? Non-canon or canon as well. My favorite technique is hands down the Kaioken technique. I love that raw energy. I love the fact that it has stakes, but at the same time, it just looks and acts and feels and has just so cool, and it has that aura that's like I said, red's my favorite color, and it just man, the strain on your body and the rage and passion that goes into it is just like it's peak. It is peak. Right behind that is probably the Wolfang Fist, and maybe the Tri-Beam, maybe. Tien's my favorite character, but I don't know if the Tri-Beam is one of my favorite techniques. It probably is, though. But Wolfang Fist for the aesthetic and for the raw physicality of it as well. I said this in the Wolfang Fist video, but the aesthetic is just amazing. And it is quite effective. It's just that Yamcha usually has to face someone that no one else wants to face. Let's see. 3, do you like/dislike Dragon Ball Super? If you do, don't/why. If you do/don't, why? I've said this plenty of times, and I did say it a little bit earlier, but I don't really like Super for the most part, but there are parts of it that I do quite enjoy. Okay, opinion on Beast Gohan, the Dragon Ball Super superhero movie. Like I said, I love Beast Gohan. I really do. I think the design of Beast Gohan is a very cool, badass look that is reminiscent of what older fans would have wanted to see a while ago. And I think it's good to give that to Gohan because, okay, well, let's be real. Gohan should not be able to go Super Saiyan anymore. He shouldn't, because that is what the ultimate form is supposed to do, or his mystic form. In the Buu Saga, he was supposed to not be able to turn Super Saiyan because that would be his Super Saiyan form that would always be on. But of course, as with a lot of things, Dragon Ball Super forgets that and makes it so he just goes Super Saiyan regularly. And so the ultimate form really wasn't there anymore. And if it wasn't there, which it should be, then I think you should get another transformation that's unique to him. I mean, like, Super Saiyan 2 was unique to Gohan at first. You know, when Toriyama made him turn Super Saiyan 2 against Cell, it wasn't called Super Saiyan 2 at the time, and no one knew that that is what it was. They just knew that Gohan's rage unlocked a new form. And it was completely unique to Gohan. It wasn't until the Buu Saga that we discovered, oh, this isn't something that only Gohan can get. This is something that anyone can get. But Gohan has always been shown to be unique in some way, and I think giving him, and I think if they already have trashed the Mystic form, and if Gohan, if Super Saiyan 2 is just a regular transformation, then he should get another form, and I think Beast is the best of that world. Okay. All right. Okay, thank you so much for asking, and again, I recognize your username. You're cool. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see. Hazer36 says, or asks, congrats on 2K subs. Hey, thank you so much. It's almost 2K. It's almost 2,150 now. It happens so quick. Just wanted to ask you this since it involves Ten Shinhan, my third favorite character, I'd say. I've seen debates about whether his Neo Tri-Beam could defeat Frieza in any of his forms, so I just wanted to know if you think that move could touch Frieza or not. It depends on when, but I guess... Oh, actually, no, it doesn't depend on when, because he only had the Neo Tri-Beam in the Android arc and later, so... yeah, it would completely kill... Just one hit from it would kill Frieza. Like, I'm not, like, scolding you or anything, but, like, I said it in my video, one hit would have been able to kill one of the androids, and it probably would have heavily damaged Imperfect Cell, if not killed him. It's just that Tien was very loath to use it. And he also probably did not know how strong it really was, because he was never able to test it on anybody until he realized, oh fuck, if I don't do this right now, Cell will become perfect. But yeah, if it could cause minor harm to semi-perfect Cell, then it would completely obliterate a Super Saiyan, and Frieza would be paced in the ground. The only reason someone would think that would not be the case is because they don't like the fact that Tien could do that. That's the only reason they would think that. So yeah, he could definitely do that. That's the description of the Tri-Beam or Kikoho in the manga is that it is a deadly destructive technique. It is not a technique that is used to push or hold back. It is a technique made to kill and destroy. And the only reason it did not kill or destroy Semi-Perfect Cell is just because he was that strong. But the fact that it wounded him at all means that it would have completely obliterated anything beneath him. Okay, but thanks for the question. Okay, Wallaby Winters. Oh, I recognize your username. Okay, since we're supposed to ask DB questions here, I'll add on to my original Super Saiyan God question and ask some more. I hope you don't mind. No, of course not. Let's see. 1. How do you feel about achieving Super Saiyan God through holding hands opposed to Birthright, Kai's and Kaio's, or Selection, Gods of Destruction? Actually, I'll read them all first. 2, do you think limiting the concept of Godhood to Saiyans in a bad way... Actually, this is a lot, so I think I'll just do the first one first. Okay. How do you feel about achieving Super Saiyan God through holding hands opposed to Birthright or Selection? I'm glad it did not have to do with birthright. I feel like there's too many sort of racial traits that we got already. And if it was birthright, then Goku certainly would have not gotten it. Then again, I mean, I guess I am assuming that it would have to be for royal birth, like for Vegeta, but yeah, I don't think birthright would really do it. Selection might actually be the best choice in my opinion. But at the same time, for selection, that wouldn't have worked in the movie because in Battle of Gods, because, you know, he was fighting the gods. So, like, it's not like they would have been like, okay, I'm going to select you. And then he fights them. They'd just be like, no, they wouldn't want to help him. But I think selection would probably be the best, actually. Let's see. 2, do you think limiting the concept of godhood to Saiyans is a bad way to keep the power scaling going, in addition to Saiyans being the only beings that can seemingly always pull one more transformation out of their ass? Well, they already have Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, grade, Super Saiyan 3, grade, Ascended, Super Saiyan 2, Ozaru, Golden, Super Saiyan 4, true. I mean, they were going to give it to the Saiyans anyway, but yes, I do think that is bad. They should have given it to someone else. I mean, I'm glad Piccolo can now keep up now with Orange Piccolo, but yeah, they definitely... Saiyans good enough already. Yeah. Okay. 3, the lifelong debate. Vegito versus Gogeta. Who's more powerful? Who's the better fusion? And does Vegeta being dead during the fusion process influence the resulting fusion? Okai hints at it, I think. I did just say earlier, I did break that down earlier, but as for the fusion process, Vegeta being dead during the fusion process influence the resulting fusion, I think it would make it weaker. Actually, I don't know. That is something I don't know. I'll need to check and check with Clearin as well. And it's not usual that there's something about Dragon Ball that I don't remember looking at. But if that's true, then that would be something I'd be curious about. I'm gonna go look for that. Okay. 4, did Korin's Sacred Water trigger a Zenkai in Goku? I know the concept didn't exist back then. That is a neat theory. I don't think so, because, well, you know, like you said, it didn't exist back then. But the Sacred Water was supposed to just unlock hidden potential as well. And while it was... here's the thing. Zenkais occur after a person is wounded and, like, very hurt. It's not necessarily there just for pain. And Korin's Sacred Water was mostly there for pain. So it didn't say that it actively harmed Goku. It was just like torture. It just made it so it was almost unbearable. But that is a good theory. Okay, 5. What is your explanation for Z Broly's legendary Super Saiyan transformation, and would he be able to achieve a similar modification to Super Saiyan 2 and up? Also, is he possibly the only character that can keep Super Saiyan 3 up while alive? Well, I think that it's pretty explicit that Broly is a mutant Saiyan. No one suggests that. That's just a theory on my part, but I think it's pretty explicit. He's pretty much like Frieza or King Cold or the Ginyu Force, in that he was born with an exceptionally high power level, and that likely meant that his Super Saiyan form was exceptionally powerful, and it was a mutated form of Super Saiyan. And apparently, from what I recall, that the Super Saiyan just continues to grow stronger. So he wouldn't really even need to be Super Saiyan 3 to eventually become that strong. Now, could he keep Super Saiyan 3 up while alive? Again, I don't think he would even need to be Super Saiyan 3, but I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. Maybe he could. That would really depend. That would depend on if Broly's base form physiology does the same thing, and then it would transfer to Super Saiyan 3, or if it's just a legendary Super Saiyan trait that he continuously grows stronger and stuff like that. Then again, strength doesn't necessarily equate to endurance. So that's hard to say. Good question, though. 6. On the nature of Old Kai's power unlock, it is said that he unlocks all the latent hidden power in someone. Does turning under Super Saiyan normally utilize this latent power, implying the multiplicator could also be smaller than 100 times if the Saiyan does not have enough hidden potential? Or would someone not be able to go Super Saiyan if one does not have enough latent power? Can Mystic Gohan train more and thus accrue potential for more power, which could then again be accessed by going Super Saiyan after gaining enough for 100 times? Or is his potential always unlocked and his mystic state grows with his training? Would he even be able to achieve more power through training at all, or did Old Kai catapult him to his limit? Oh my god, I could go on about this forever. Well, first off, the multiplication for Super Saiyan is times 50, not times 100. That is Super Saiyan 2, or at least according to the Daizenshu. Secondly, this isn't confirmed, but it's generally thought that one needs to reach a certain power in their base form in order to become a Super Saiyan. And Goku was around 3 million when he became a Super Saiyan. And it is generally seen as Vegeta having to become that strong before he could become one. Because, Vegeta was only a little bit behind Goku in strength at that point, right before his death. And then later, obviously, he trained a little bit more to catch up to that. So one would need to be 3 million. That's generally the opinion of most hardcore fans, is that is a thing. And so, if that is true, then the latent power would already be in him. Now, when it comes to potential, with your question about Mystic Gohan, it's just like how Krillin and Gohan had their potential unlocked with Guru, and yet later on they could still train and become stronger. Potential does not mean, like, all the strength that you're ever going to have ever. Potential just means the hidden power that's in you now. So the thing I would equate that to is like how hard you'll punch a pillow compared to how hard you will punch a stone wall. You are not going to want to punch a stone wall as hard, but if you thought that the stone wall was soft or fake, and you hit it with like all your strength without holding back because it's hard, you would obviously hit it with more force. And it's kind of like that. It's kind of like, those stories of like mothers, picking up cars to save their babies, even though that should not be in their strength limit. It's sort of like, it's like your body has limitations to protect itself because that could tear muscle tissue and hurt yourself. There's hidden strength inside one's bodies. And I generally see it as like a tax, honestly. The more you train, the more goes into your potential, just like the stronger you get. Now with Gohan, he's always had a bigger potential that comes out than most. Although would his potential, would he have been able to achieve more power through training at all? I don't think so for that, at least, because Old Kai unlocking potential is more effective than Guru doing it. And at least at the time, there was no Dragon Ball Super. And so he was sort of becoming like the upper echelons of what a being could achieve. And it is true that Mystic Gohan or Ultimate Gohan was, in the original manga, the single strongest non-fused being ever. But, of course, I can't know everything, but that's all that I can tell you for that. Okay, and he also says, sorry for the many questions, but your insights and opinions are very refreshing in this community, and I value them very much, both from an entertainment perspective and an analytical discussion-driven approach than what DB YouTube mostly offers. Best of luck with the channel. Hey, thank you so much, Wallaby. I appreciate that. And like I said, I recognize you. Thank you again for the question. All right, now, my boy, the biggest black man ever. He asks, what's your favorite era of Toriyama's art style? Or your favorite Dragon Ball art style in general? P.S. Can you sort the other post comment section to newest first? I know that. I can. I made a comment there, but YouTube isn't showing it because it deemed it as naughty. Deemed it as naughty? I'll need to look. I don't know what you mean. I'll look around, but that is how I'm doing it right now. I'm searching through newest so I don't go through old questions. My favorite era of Toriyama's art style. I would say the Saiyan and Namek sagas are the best one in terms of art style in the manga. and the Android Saga is the best in terms of the anime. The anime is not Toriyama, it's other animators. So I guess that would be for the other part, for my favorite Dragon Ball art style in general. I would say my favorite Dragon Ball art style in general is the Android arc. So before Cell and after Trunks. But in the manga, I think the Saiyan Saga and the Namek Sagas are the best in terms of art style. All right, good question, bro. Okay. Oh, my boy Glasgow. How do you feel about new Bardock compared to old Bardock? I like old Bardock more. I felt like he was more of a real Saiyan, but I don't dislike new Bardock. I think he looks really cool in the new animation, and I just think that the whole appeal of Bardock was that he was not supposed to be a good guy. He was just supposed to be a Saiyan, a typical Saiyan that also did not mind, that also did care about all of his people dying. But he wasn't really supposed to be someone that you rooted for. And as the years went by, he became more and more heroic. He's still not exactly a heroic character, but I kind of like the old anti-hero Bardock a bit more. But again, I don't dislike the new Bardock. Okay, Hudson2228 asks, hey, saw the new Q&A post and decided to move this down here since it's DB related. Thank you so much. Will you be making a video on the after image technique? I always thought it was an interesting move that got taken for granted the further we got from OG Dragon Ball. Yes, I will. That's definitely something I'm going to do. I'm going to do as many techniques as I can from the original manga and series, and the after image is one of my faves. That's definitely going to be down the roster. Don't worry about that. Thanks for the question. All right, now let's go to my other questions. Now, some of you posted Dragon Ball questions in this one that was supposed to be questions only meant that if you were curious about anything else about me or the channel or any other of my opinions. So there will be some Dragon Ball questions. I'm going to try to get those done first, but while I'm not mad at anyone for not fully reading and doing that, I will say that I should probably reward the people who did go down and actually go back to the Dragon Ball questionnaire. Okay, let's see. Did Nam, King Choppa, and Tao have the potential to train for the Saiyan Saga arc? Potential? Probably. It really depends. I don't think that Nam or King Choppa was strong enough to be able to go up to Kami's lookout and do it. Tao had the potential, but I also think that he would not have been invited or would have wanted to do that. And I think people would also be wary of Tao having that kind of strength, even if Tien and Yamcha and Krillin even could probably still beat him up even after that kind of training. I think Tao would also might be a little too arrogant for that. Yeah, I think they all had potential. But it's just that, they were much older and they had good training. They definitely had good training compared to most characters in Dragon Ball, the early series Dragon Ball, but they still did not have the fundamentals that some of the others did. Tao did, but again, he's a little too arrogant. That's a good question, though. I would have liked them to have gotten stronger, and I think that in a perfect world they could have. But I think there just was not enough time. And usually, I think the Z Fighters knew that while more warriors with that strength is good, it's best to just try to get as strong as you can rather than trying to get as many people as you can. Because singular strength scales better than the strength of many in Dragon Ball. Like, if you are fighting two people with a power level of 50,000, you don't need to have a power level of 100,000 to beat them up. You would probably need just a power level of like maybe 62,000, 65,000, something like that. You wouldn't need to be too much stronger. So like that's why there's not a lot of 2v1 fights, even though I really like those and I think there should have been more. That's just because, it's best for a single individual to get a lot of strength than multiple to get some strength. Okay, before Goku met Bulma, there weren't honestly many high power levels. The highest at the time were Nam, Lao, Choppa, Bora, Tao, Kami, Korin, Popo, Grandpa Gohan, Ox King, Master Roshi. Spike the Devilman, Bandages, Fangs, Shin, Yajirobe, Anin, I don't know who Anin is, Shin, Shula, Piccolo, Yao Chin, Garlic Jr., Dr. Wheelo, and the Biomen. Well, you didn't really ask me a question there. And some of those were also non-canon. But yes, that is true. Let's see. Who's my favorite DB character and why? I said this last time, and I've said this multiple times really, but I'll say it again. It's Tin Shinhan. Definitely Tien. He's got the best fights, the best designs. Tien Shinhan. I call him Tin Shinhan, or Tien Shinhan. I just don't call him 10, because that is a number in the English language, the more you know. But yeah, he is definitely my favorite. Okay, I think that's all of the Dragon Ball questions there are. Now I will go to the second half and what this video is mostly going to be about, which is questions to me on various things that you might be curious about Poohead. I wanted to do a bunch of Dragon Ball stuff first and make the first Q&A purely Dragon Ball because you guys subbed to this channel because of my Dragon Ball information, not because you're like, oh, I want to find out about this Poohead fella. But, I figured I'd also give you the chance to ask me stuff if you really cared, and some of you do, so I will answer. Alright. Hadrian Weir 2191 asks, how many bees could you fit in your mouth, meaning me? Whew, boy. How many bees? Are they alive or are they dead? Do they still have their stingers? Maybe 100? Maybe 50? It depends on... I'm gonna go with a clean 80 bees. Well, I might be choking at that point. I don't even know if I could do 50, actually, now that I think about it. Let's do a biblical 40. How about that? Alright, Kaiser Bunzy 6403. When will you, because then we'd know what you, but that might not be what you want, because then you couldn't, but I don't know, maybe it would be the best to instead, because then we wouldn't be able to, and then you'd... That's compelling, actually. I think that I would have to go with yes. Alright, Overhaul asks, thoughts on One Piece? I think One Piece is okay. It's the one that I've seen and am the least interested in the big three. My favorite is Bleach, and me and my boys Lethal and Dave right now are hyped for this new anime season. We just saw Bleach today with Dan to Dan, or I guess technically not today because it's like 1 a.m. when I'm talking. Yesterday we saw Bleach together, and we were like peak, even though Dave is pretty he's pretty critical of Bleach, even though he has a good time. We all have a good time. I mean, I don't blame him because Kubo's writing is he writes in the seat of his pants more than Toriyama does. But you're asked about One Piece. I have seen 50 episodes of One Piece. The reason I wasn't really interested because of the art style, but I remember I was in a call with my friend Odo on Discord, and during it, he asked me if I'd ever seen any One Piece or knew anything about it, and I was like, nah, dude, I haven't seen it. And then later on, like organically in the conversation, I asked him, have you ever seen Hunter x Hunter? And he was like, no, I'm not going to watch a series. It's never going to end. And I was like, all right, how about this? How about I watch some One Piece and you watch all of Hunter x Hunter that's out? And he was like, all right, how about this? You watch the first 50 episodes of One Piece and I'll watch the 2011 Hunter x Hunter. And I was like, all right, deal, bro. And that's how I watched the first 50 episodes of One Piece. And I thought it was fairly enjoyable. It's definitely not something... I might continue it at some point. I did say once before that I would. But, I don't know. That's so long. My friend Lethal's going through One Piece right now, and it's taken him months to catch up, and he watches like a monster. My friend Robin, who makes that really neat manga comic, loves One Piece. That's his favorite series, and you should definitely read his series Dandelion if you are interested in One Piece, because it's probably one of his biggest inspirations. But yeah, okay. Chef in a Bottle still deals with DB. Oh, okay, I missed one. But mostly a question about character writing. Ah, yes. I'm making my first DBOC in years, and I want to know some tips about character writing or story. Okay, that's a good question. For character writing, it really depends on the type of OC that you're making. Here's some good rules of thumb. If you are making a Saiyan, generally I would take a lesson from Lord of the Rings when it comes to that, and by that I mean like this. With Merry, Pippin, Frodo, and Sam, all of them are hobbits, right? And they all have very hobbit-like qualities. Yet at the same time, when something happens, you hear that a hobbit did something, you could likely guess which one of them did it. Like if a hobbit became brave or drew a sword, it's probably Sam. Like if a hobbit dropped something or complained, it's probably Pippin, right? And it's the same thing with, like, Saiyans, right? You can easily tell that Goku is different from Vegeta, even though they both have very, very Saiyan-like qualities, because that's what they are. And so you can make a character that is a Saiyan, but then you could also make it to where there's something about them. They have a part of their character that's solid, that is still somewhat unique compared to Goku and Vegeta, even if they still have the typical Saiyan tendencies. Now I suppose if they're not a Saiyan, or I suppose even if they are, backstory definitely will shape who they are. Setting does too, so if they grew up on Earth, that'll definitely shape it. And I feel like if I had more information, I could better help you, but I hope that does help, my friend. And I do recognize your username. Thank you so much. All right, let's see. Hazer36. Who is the most interesting character in Yu Yu Hakusho to you? I think Toguro has a really interesting backstory. Now we get into it. For those of you who don't know, other than Dragon Ball Z, Yu Yu Hakusho is my shit, dude. Yu Yu Hakusho, if you have not seen it, particularly the English dub, you should watch Yu Yu Hakusho with the full Pooheaded recommendation. The sub is not bad. I'm not going to say the sub is bad, but like, pretty much whenever anyone talks about Yu Yu Hakusho, they talk about the English dub because the writing is that good and that catchy, and it really doesn't deviate too much from the manga. And the manga itself, though, is really good as well and has a few more arcs than the anime does. But yeah, it's a fucking solid piece of work. It's a fucking solid manga. Okay, my most interesting character. Man. Whenever I say who my favorite character is, I tend to identify a lot with Yusuke because I look just like Yusuke with his hair down, and I acted a lot like him in school. So I use him for like profile pictures a lot. But it's hard for me to see who's my favorite character amongst the main four, because meaning Kuwabara, Hiei, and Kurama, because they all just match each other very well. But at the same time, Toguro is one of the best villains ever written in manga. You're very right about that. Man. The most interesting, though, that's a good question. It's not the best, or my favorite, but the most interesting. Yeah, okay, I'll go ahead and say Toguro as well. Probably. If not, then one of the shinobi in the Dark Tournament. Yeah, I'll go with that. That's a good question, though. Also, Jury is a baddie. Okay. Okay, Kakparas or Kasparas, I don't know how to say your name, I apologize, but I do recognize you. 1806. How you doing in life? How'd you start your adventure with DB? Oh, thank you so much for asking. I guess if I bumped into you on the street and you asked that, I'd just be like, oh, I'm fine. But I guess, since it's a question to answer, I guess I'll answer honestly. I'm doing okay. I've definitely been worse. I'm swamped with a lot of work right now. Okay, something about me is that I'm always busy. I get a lot done a lot. Even though I'm taking a break from the channel now, that doesn't mean that I'm on a vacation elsewhere right now. I'm doing a lot of shit. And things could definitely... I want to move. Once I move, I'm going to look for a girlfriend, but I don't want to date anyone in my city right now, and I want to leave my city, and I want a better job because I'm fucking broke. So I guess all of that is bad. But generally, I'm not too. I mean, like, I'm healthy, I'm sexy, I'm writing. Well, I'd like to write more. I'd like to have more time to write. I Until very recently, I was a straight A student in college, but there was some miscommunication with the professor, and now I fucking got a C in a class. Fucking hate that shit. But I'm back and forth. I'm up and down. I would like more sleep too. How am I doing with my adventure in Dragon Ball? Or how did I start it? Oh boy, I started that adventure when I was 5 years old. I watched Sailor Moon for like 8 episodes until I saw a Dragon Ball Z episode on WB, and this is back in 1996. I was a wee lad in Florida, and that's not where I live right now, but at the time I was in Florida, Jacksonville, and I saw Raditz land in front of Piccolo, and I thought, what the hell is going on? How cool is this? And they traded banter, that they had that little conflict, and then Raditz goes. And then you see Goku and Gohan visiting Kame House, and like, I was locked in. That's how I started my DB adventure, and I was just obsessed ever since. I have kind of an obsessive personality. It's just that it's not with drugs. It's with different fictional series. Or history or animals. I'm a big history buff. I was a history major in college, and I'm trying to finish my degree now. And I also was going to be a zoologist at some point. But yeah, I'm pretty fucking obsessed with Dragon Ball and a few other things, or a bunch of other things. But Dragon Ball is one of the biggest ones, or probably the biggest one. And yeah, that's how I started my adventure. Thanks so much for asking, dude. Bilbo Bagman, it's my boy. Who you think gonna be the most overused and underused characters in Sparking? Oh man, I wish I could give a good answer for this, but it's gonna be pretty obvious. It's gonna be the super characters and the fusions that are gonna be the most overused, and the underused ones is gonna be Chaozu, Roshi, Yamcha. Maybe not Yamcha, because Yamcha usually has a good moveset, at least with the meta. Yeah, Chaozu, Roshi, Yajirobe, Videl. Maybe not Videl. Let's just say a bunch of characters that I'm probably going to play. My team, I'm definitely going to play with Yamcha, Tien, Roshi, Future Gohan, Kaioken Goku. Probably going to use Yajirobe at some point. Probably Chaozu at some point. Probably Krillin at some point. If I play any of the bigger ones, it's going to be Hit. Maybe Super Saiyan 2 Team Gohan, or like Kid Gohan. I don't think Beast Gohan is in the game, but I would play that. And any of the Super Saiyan Gokus, those are cool. Okay, alright, CF asks, what's your favorite video game genre and your favorite video game from that genre? Ooh, boy, man, that's like asking me my favorite child. Dude, I've been gaming as long as I've been a fan of Dragon Ball. Even longer, actually. I think I got my Super Nintendo when I was like 4. Like a year before Dragon Ball. So I've been a huge gamer all of my life. And my favorite genre... Okay, I play shooters. I play RPGs. Various types of RPGs. Like CRPGs, first-person RPGs, different things like that. I love strategy games, too. I'm pretty big in strategy. That's hard to say. I play almost any kind of game that's not a sports or a racing game, generally. And I've got a bunch of favorites. I guess I'll go with a lesser known one. I'll go with Kingdom Under Fire Crusaders. I'll say that's probably my favorite game. A very close contender is Medieval 2 Total War. And maybe one of the Gears of War or one of the Halos in the first trilogy. There's a lot of good ones, though. I love Mordhau because I'm a big history buff, and I do like medieval combat. like really researching it and also playing games like that. So Mortal's really good. I've played a ton of Killing Floor. I'm just a big fucking gamer. Honestly, I might even just post my Steam profile. I mean, it's literally Poohead 189. That's all you gotta look up, and you can find me. I don't think it's on like private for Steam. So yeah. I also do enjoy fighting games, like with Dragon Ball Z. I think I love Fighter Z, and I love Burst Limit, and I'm going to like Sparking Zero a lot when I can play it later this week, I bet. But that's a good question, though. I wish I had a more specific answer, but that's really hard for me to say. And there's some I likely forgot and would pinch myself for later. Warcraft 3 is really good. Damn, there's a lot of good ones. Okay. What's your favorite game of all time and why? Oh no, Plusa1268, you're asking the same thing. I guess I'll also say Kingdom Under Fire Crusaders for that one. Total War Warhammer is really good too. Fuck, I gotta stop this. Okay. Crispy1470 asks, what is your favorite movie/movies? Also for Dragon Ball, if they were to make another movie, what do you think they should do for it? You can just call me Crispy. Okay, Crispy. My favorite movie/movies. Okay, here's something. I don't care if you guys stalk me or whatever. Just type in Poohead 189 in Google, and you'll find most of my opinions, because I'm a huge internet slut. I have a letterboxd under that name where I have a bunch of movies that I like. But my favorite movie ever is probably Kingdom of Heaven Director's Cut. As I've said before, I'm a huge history nerd, and Kingdom of Heaven Director's Cut is an immaculate movie with a lot of cool philosophy in it, and a great set design, and just a good medieval film. I think Kingdom of Heaven regular, like without Director's Cut, is like a 7 out of 10, but with Director's Cut, like an almost 3-hour movie, it's like almost a 10 out of 10. I also love The Last Samurai. I'm a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings movies, the first trilogy. I think I could probably recite those movies word for word. I love the first parts of the Caribbean trilogy. Star Wars, I'm a big fan of. I don't like the sequels, but I'm a huge fan of the prequels and the original 3 movies. In fact, I make Lord of the Rings and Star Wars lore on my other channel. And I also love action movies. I grew up with action movies and sci-fi movies too. Like me and my dad loved The Predator a lot, and Alien and Aliens and stuff like that. And Terminator, and the Bourne movies, and yeah. And of course, I love a bunch of comedy movies too, like the classic comedies like Anchorman, Boston Powers, fucking Other Guys. A bunch of good ones. And I also like adventure movies, The Mummy, various stuff like that. I'm a big film fella, but I'll still go with, let's see, Chronicles of Riddick is good. I'll go with Kingdom of Heaven Director's Cut though. I like Ridley Scott's medieval movies a lot. I like The Last Duel quite a bit. So yeah, I'll say that. Thank you for the question. In your opinion, is making long videos more enjoyable than making short ones? I would say so, yes. I would say that, sometimes I'm glad if it's a short video, so I don't need to spend too much time on it, but I generally want my videos to be at least over 9 minutes, and I think that I think I really want to get my thoughts across, and I really want to get the information across. And like the longer the video, either that either means I have more information or more nuance. And so I do, and I'm very proud of my 2 longest videos on this channel, which is on the Saiyans and on the androids. And yeah, I would say so. Yes. I will say that once it gets past like the 25-minute mark, it's kind of going a long time for me. But at the same time, if it needs that information, it needs that information. So yeah, I would say making longer videos is more enjoyable. Yeah, I would say that. Oh, and Oglag or Olag asked me that. Sorry about that. Okay. The Lettuce Barrel 7784 asks, you mentioned Elder Scrolls and Kirkbride in your video about continuity, so I'm assuming you know a fair bit about it. I do. What's your favorite Elder Scrolls race? Oh man, I should have mentioned some of the Elder Scrolls games are my favorite video games. It can be the playable ones or the non-playable ones like Slodes or Falmer. Just from lore, aesthetic, and culture vibe, which do you like the most and why? I'm a huge fan of the Argonians. Generally when it comes to fantasy, I'm a big fan of dwarves, which people would find out in my other channel. I make a lot of videos on dwarves over the years. And lizardmen. I'm a big fan of lizardmen as well. I would say the Argonians and Elder Scrolls are my favorite. And I like how unique they are. I like their symbiotic relationship with the Hist trees. And I like the fact that the Hist can manipulate them, but they're also dependent upon the Argonians. And by manipulate, I mean genetically. I mean how the Argonians were able to invade Oblivion and also attack Morrowind because the Hist gave them sap that made them stronger. I think that's really cool. I think that I tend to like Dark Elves a lot, but it's funny because I don't think that Dark Elves are my favorite kind in the Elder Scrolls, though. I'm a big fan of Dark Elves and Forgotten Realms, though. But, Falmer have good backstories. Slodes are cool. I'm trying to think of another race that I really like in Elder Scrolls, big. I think I'll just stick with Argonians for this, but yes, I very much enjoy it, and I do love the Elder Scrolls, and I hope that Elder Scrolls 6 will be good, definitely. Okay, and thank you for the question, though, because I love nerding out on that kind of stuff. Terminally Chill asks, I don't know if you mentioned this in other videos, but do you collect anything, like statues, cards, etc.? I collect swords, like battle-ready swords. I haven't bought a new one in a very long time because I'm fucking broke, which is one reason why I decided to make a Patreon for the channel. Even though I have very, 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 very strict rules on me never asking anyone for money, because I think that money is one of the great corruptors of humankind. And so even if I am in debt and without it, I refuse to be a grifter. But that is one reason why I made it. But I do love buying medieval weapons. And I've bought a bunch of swords over the years. I have a few arming swords. I have a basket-hilted broadsword from the Battle of Culloden. I have a World War I trench knife. I got a bow staff. I love practicing martial arts. I used to collect Pokemon cards and stuff when I was a very little kid, but I don't do that anymore. I collect books and I collect medieval weaponry. That's what I collect. I'm a big reader too, which is one reason why I'm a writer. Okay. Glasgow Spork. What's your favorite video game of all time? Damn! No, I gotta keep choosing my children. Even though I said Kingdom Under Fire Crusaders earlier, I'll go with Giant Citizen Kabuto now, because Giant Citizen Kabuto is a game that is not well known, really underrated. It's probably the funniest game I've ever played, and it's got some fun gameplay as well. You should definitely play it at some point. It's probably very cheap, and it's on Steam. I am playing Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader right now, and that's a very good CRPG. Recommend that as well. Okay, Totentans2440. Are you into American/British comics at all? If you are, what are some of your favorite series? I'm a big fan of The Silver Surfer, Jonah Hex, Judge Dredd, The Max, etc. Yeah, I am. Or I used to be. My dad collected comics when he was a little kid, and so he helped me collect some when I was a little kid. And I was a big fan of the X-Men, and I'm still a big fan of comics generally, but I just don't really read them as much nowadays, and I don't really collect any nowadays. But I still have that love for them. And I still will go down the rabbit hole every now and again, finding out different, continuity of certain comics or not. And I did enjoy the Marvel movies, and I enjoyed the 2004 Punisher a lot, and Captain America: The Winter Soldier was my favorite of the Marvel movies. And I do like some of the DC movies, and I like the DC animated movies a lot. I think my dad's favorite was Spider-Man for the comics, and I do like Judge Dredd. But I don't really read a lot of comics nowadays. I'm mostly, if I read anything, it's either a novel or some manga, mostly Dragon Ball. But thank you for the question, though, and I'm glad you like it, because I used to be a big fan, and I still dabble. Okay, last but not least, No Excuses, Just Pudding asks, I kind of have two unrelated questions, so if you only want to answer one, that's fine. I can answer both. Don't worry about it. One, what got you interested in writing? You said you're a successful author, so I'm pretty interested in how you got there, okay? Two, would you ever be interested in making similar videos about Bloodborne that you make about Dragon Ball, where you go in depth into certain topics like the Cybermen or the Frieza Force? I feel like your style of videos would translate quite well to that game. While there are maybe many more Bloodborne videos than before, I feel like yours would be very enjoyable, and I think you said you love dark fantasy as well. I do. Some ideas could be a video going over the Healing Church, or perhaps over Canehurst Castle. Love the videos, by the way, and it'd be great to see your channel grow. First off, thank you so much. I'll start with one. What got me interested into writing? I don't know if I'm a successful author because I want to be bigger, but I have written and had numerous smaller works published. In fact, I'm looking at a physical copy of an anthology where a story of mine is in right now. It's right on top of my computer tower, actually. I write grimdark fantasy or just fantasy, and sometimes science fiction. Yes, I do quite enjoy that. I am trying to get novels published now. It's just that novels take a long fucking time to write. But I'm big in the writing world, and I have interviewed famous authors and have been interviewed recently, actually, which is neat. But how I got into it, it's mostly because I'm a big reader. When I was 12, I started reading the Drizzt books, which is books from Forgotten Realms. I'm a big Forgotten Realms nerd, too. Well, a little bit less so nowadays because I think they butchered the lore. But I for 20 years, I was a huge fan of that. And I still enjoy those books. I started reading the Drizzt books for Drizzt Do'Urden, and I thought those were fucking neat. And I loved a bunch of R.A. Salvatore's books. And then I read Aragon and some of those books. And then I really got into Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40K and those books. I've read way more books of Warhammer, Forgotten Realms, and Star Wars than I've played the games that they're meant to be played for. Like, I've never played the Warhammer Fantasy or 40K tabletop game, and I only started playing D&D and Pathfinder and tabletop games like that relatively recently. Like, it's been 8-9 years now, but like, I was a big fan of the novels for that way, way, way before. And, I've read Lord of the Rings, obviously. I read The Hobbit once in school. Once a year in school for like 7 or 8 years. And I've read some Stephen King, and I tend to read quite a bit. And when I was like 19 or maybe 20, I was actually on a Dragon Ball forum, and with some of my friends, who were also into video games and fantasy as well. They made characters, and I wrote like fan fictions for them. And then I wrote a fan fiction for Dragon Ball, which is nowhere now. I don't even know if I have it now. But it was a piece that was about Yamcha and Tien and Vegeta sort of settling their differences after the Cell games. And, when I started doing that, I was like, you know what? People like this. And I realized that I too like this. I liked writing. And I became obsessed with it. And like I'm 33 right now. And like I said, I started when I was 19 or 20. But I've been reading books far longer than that. But like I really, really enjoyed reading, and I realized that I had stories to tell as well. And my favorite author, I have a few now, but like at the time, my favorite author was R.A. Salvatore. And he has a great quote, which is, "If you can quit, then quit. If you can't quit, you're a writer." And it's been 14 years now, and I cannot quit. So I am a writer. And finally, in the last 3 or 4 years, I've gotten published, which is very nice. But that is how I started. Now, would I ever be interested in making similar videos about Bloodborne? Unfortunately, I've not played Bloodborne, which I guess would put a hinder in that. I have played Elden Ring and beaten Elden Ring and the DLC fairly recently, obviously. I've played some Dark Souls 3. I've played games like them, but I haven't played Bloodborne because I don't have a PlayStation, because, again, I'm poor. But I would not be opposed to learning more about it, and if I ever play it and get into it, I might be doing that. But if I did, it would be on my other channel. On my other channel, I'm going to make a 40K video very soon, and I've made Elder Scrolls videos and Lord of the Rings videos and Warhammer videos, plenty, on my other channel. This channel would be only anime, mostly Dragon Ball, obviously, but if I do that, it would be in the other one. But yes, I could potentially do that at some point, but like I really would have to actually play it. So I'm sorry. I wish I could say that I knew Bloodborne well. I am into dark fantasy, but I just haven't been able to play Bloodborne. I apologize for that. Okay. Thank you for the question, though. All right. I think that's everybody. Is it? Let's see. Yeah, I think that is. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for asking me these questions. The next video I'm going to make is going to be on Sparking Zero, either a stream or a review. But again, I don't have it yet. I'm going to play it on the 10th. After that, though, I will make a video on the Super Saiyan 2. And I have a few, my patrons, I have 8 patrons now, which is cool. That's super cool that 8 of you have thought that I'm worth it. I've told my patrons the 4 videos they're next, but you guys do know that the next one exactly is going to be on the Super Saiyan 2. And thank you so much for asking me these questions, guys. I appreciate you, humoring me with these and that you're interested at all. As usual, check the community tab, and if you're on Twitter, you can follow me on there. And also follow my other channel, because I do plan on making a video in that one within a few days, if not around this weekend. I want to make a video on the basics of Warhammer 40,000, because people have been getting into it because of Space Marine 2 and various things like that. But the one bad thing about the fandom of that is kind of like the Dragon Ball fandom, which is people only really get their information from memes or other people who get their information from memes, and so they really don't know anything. And so I'm just going to make a basics for people. But yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you so much, and have a good one. All right. See ya.